friends, and welcome to day 3 of reading. We have talked about literal and non-literal language this week. We have talked about playful language, we've talked about puns, and we've talked about all the different ways that authors use language to mean different things. And today we're going to review a little bit about what we talked about, and we're going to read a story and think about the meaning and the explanation behind the words the author chooses to use. So yesterday, we read our core story and we talked about all the different puns in this core story. For example, we talked about this one, what happens when there are too many frogs on a baseball team? And the answer is they catch all the flies. We talked about how it doesn't mean that they're catching the fly balls, but the author means it as they're catching all of the flies that are buzzing around, the actual flies. And so this is one way that the author has used language to mean something different than the literal meaning. Today we're going to be reading a story called Be Careful What You Wish For by Katie Owens. After we read each section of the story, we're going to stop and think about what does the author mean and what are the words that he's using actually mean and how are they meant to be taken. So we're going to talk about the literal and non-literal language and the different meanings behind the words. So let's get started. Be careful what you wish for. Farmer Ray's crops had not felt a drop of rain in months. One day, Ray noticed a purple cow stuck in a thorny bush. "Help!" cried the cow. "I can't move." Farmer Ray freed the cow. In return, the cow granted him 3 wishes. "Let it rain buckets tomorrow," Ray ordered. The next morning, Ray sprang from bed and ran to the window. His fields were covered with shiny metal buckets. "No!" he shouted. So let's talk about this. The farmer made a wish and he wished that it would rain buckets. Now, what was he trying to mean when he said, "Let it rain buckets"? We know that the cow took this very literally, and the cow made buckets actually fall from the sky. And his fields were covered in these buckets. So his fields were covered in buckets, but what did the farmer actually want to happen? What did he mean by "let it rain buckets"? He meant let it rain a lot. So he didn't actually want buckets to be falling all over his fields of crops. He wanted there a lot of rain to be falling. Let's move on. Furious, Ray rushed outside to find the cow. "Looks like someone's in a bad mood," said the cow. "Of course I am," Ray cried. "I meant that I wanted a lot of rain." "You're correct, you wanted a lot of rain." "Really?" said the cow. "Well, at least you have 2 wishes left." "What I want is nice weather so my crops can grow. Okay?" "Very well," said the cow. So let's stop and think. What do you think the literal meaning of his wish was? What I want is nice weather so my crops can grow. What do you think the cow is going to take that as its literal meaning? Let's see if you're correct. The next morning, Ray sprinted out the door and stopped in his tracks. There was still no rain, and the weather and the heat was unbearable. A voice bellowed from above. "Good morning, Farmer Ray. You look very handsome today." Ray saw the sun smiling down at him. The weather was being nice to him, but his crops were burning up. So let's stop and think. The prediction you made about his wish, did it come true? Was it correct? So the cow took his wish again very literally. He made the weather actually be nice to him. And so the sun was talking to the farmer and the sun was being kind to the farmer, which is the way that the cow took it, nice as kind. But the way the farmer wanted the cow to interpret that, the non-literal meaning, is he wanted there to be good weather. He wanted the weather to be not too hot and not too cold, and he wanted it to be perfect weather for his crops to grow. So that is what he meant when he said he wanted nice weather. So our explanation is the farmer wanted weather that was going to be not too hot, not too cold. He wanted good weather. But the cow took this very literally and gave him a son that gave him compliments. Ray was furious. I don't want the weather to be nice to me. I just want nice weather. He threw down his hat and stomped on it. So that's the thanks I get, the cow grumbled. Forget weather, cow. Just give me $1,000 bucks. Let's make a prediction here. What do you think the cow is going to give him? Let's read on. Ray went to sleep that night dreaming of money. When he awoke the next morning, Ray could not believe his eyes. A huge herd of male deer was grazing on what was left of his crops. Silly cow, Ray shouted. I need money, not deer. So this wish for $1,000 bucks, what did the farmer mean by that? Did he want 1,000 male deer grazing on what was left of his crops? No, he didn't want 1,000 male deer, he wanted $1,000. And so he wanted $1,000, but the cow took this very literally and gave him 1,000 male deer, which then ate all his crops. So the literal meaning of this is he got 1,000 male deer, because a buck is a male deer. But the non-literal meaning, or the unexpected meaning of this, is the farmer was wanting $1,000. The cow apologized for this new mix-up. I tell you what, he said. Since things have gone so badly, I'll throw in a bonus wish. Now be careful what you wish for. No thanks, Ray said. Something always goes wrong. He walked off muttering to himself, I just wanted everything to come up roses. Let's make a prediction. What do you think the farmer wanted from that wish, and what do you think he's actually going to get? Interesting wish, the cow said, and then vanished. The next morning, Farmer Ray got up and looked out the window. In every direction, his fields were covered with red roses. This time, Ray smiled. It looks like I'm in the flower business now. So the literal meaning of this wish, he wanted everything to come up roses, which is how the cow took it, is he gave him fields and fields full of roses. So the cow went and he actually wanted the flower, a rose, to come up in his fields. But the farmer, by I just wanted everything to come up roses, meant I just wanted everything to go right. I wanted things to go the way I wanted them to go, and I wanted them to turn out wonderfully for me. So that's what the farmer was wanting from that wish, and the cow took it very literally. The literal language was his fields were covered in flowers. So as you work through your assignments, I want you to keep those ears tuned in, and I want you to be thinking, what are the author's words meaning, and what does the author want those words to mean? Does he want me to take this as the literal language, or do you think he wants me to take this as the unexpected meaning, the non-literal language? Thanks, guys.